Get ready to take notes, guys, because we're going in. So, David, I want to start with your why. Because one of the biggest things, as you know, and you preach a lot of this online, it's like a fulfilling life stems from our internal why. So I'd love for you to just open up with what's your why in your life right now?
My why is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, to create a collective consciousness to change the world. It's a big why, but it starts more importantly with what's my what. So I think a lot of people get confused trying to follow a why without thinking about the who, the what, the how, and the now. And so I try to encourage people to take inventory every day of the what, the who, the how, and the now, to take inventory personally, what do I want? Experientially, what do I want? Giving wise, what do I want? Receiving wise, what do I want today? And be comfortable with it changing and growing and accelerating and being a hypocrite and telling people, gosh, I thought cryptocurrency was going to be the amazing thing, but it's not, or vice versa. That's all part of learning and loving and living. But my ultimate why is to change the world by finding 1,000 people like you in your lifetime that will empower 1,000 people to empower 1,000 people to simply be happy by using the values I teach, the daily practices, the books, the content that I have for free to help everyone understand that it doesn't have to have the interference, void, shortages, and obstacles between you and what you already are, which is happy.
That was so beautifully said. Right there, there's so much there, and even I'm so excited to dive into the daily life of you because that's a really abundant mission, and I'm sure people listening are like, wow, I would love to even first off discover the why, but go after a why that big, and I'm excited to dive into that. But how, I know a lot of people listening are in their early stages of like their entrepreneurial journey, or really maybe they want to pivot because they're not happy. And I know happiness is like your mission with helping people uncover that. What would you say to someone listening maybe who's just, okay, first step is kind of uncovering what their why would be. Like how could someone listening get that clarity on how to know the why, to get into the who, the what, the daily routine?
So this might sound crazy, but most people that are starting out trying to explore their why, the first thing I would tell them is you're not going to find it right at first. So the best thing to do is to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your own potential of something. So for me, I had all these different potentials that subconsciously and unconsciously I was pursuing because I wanted to be rich. And the good news about wanting to be rich is you keep your options open. So I was always utilizing my desire to must be what I can be, my potential, but it kept changing. Right? Professional football player, doctor, lawyer, salesperson, whatever. It still keeps changing. I mean, if you connect the dots backwards on my life, if I have a young person come to me and go, Mr. Meltzer, I want to be just like you when I'm 53 years old, except for better looking. I said, I understand. You would connect the dots backwards, and what are you going to tell someone? Oh, well, I wanted to be a professional football player, then I wanted to be a doctor, and then I want to be a lawyer, and then I graduated. No, I sold legal in the internet, and then I read. And you're like, what the heck? Are you schizophrenic? Nope. I think that I was just pursuing my potential, and what I've learned about finding my why is that there's love, light, and lessons in everything. Taking the trash out, your first job, the lowest level positions, dishwashers, and things that pay the least. There's light, love, and lessons, and the superpower is to find it. See, certain things we naturally love, and I use food as the most analogous situation, is that I can put something out and you may, oh my gosh, I love sushi. And the person next to you would have to work very, very hard to love sushi, because naturally you have a certain frequency to sushi that the other person doesn't. But does that mean it's impossible for the person to love sushi that's sitting next to you? No, it's not. And where is that power, that discipline, that mindset, that capability that Viktor Frankl talked about in The Man's Search for Meaning, to be able to find that in everything? And so later on in my life, I started realizing, gosh, there is a why in everything. Why not start practicing and utilizing a discipline or perspective or a muscle to find the why in what I'm doing? Find the why, not create some sort of why. And so that will aggregate on itself, compound in itself, and allow you to raise your awareness in your own frequency so that you can have that capability of, no matter what I throw at you, what food I put in front of you, you'll say, it's just gonna take me about 5 minutes to figure out how I'm gonna love this, and then love it.
I love that so much, because another thing too, a lot of people might be like, I have to choose the one thing. And you're saying like, no, you can literally, like with your own journey, you dabble in on so many things and you discover it's all lessons and blessings, because you discover, you get so much clarity and self-awareness, right? On what that, like, why that's gonna make your life so fulfilling, and then puts you on the abundant mission that you're on right now. With your mission and everything you're doing, someone listening to that is like, holy shit, that's a big mission, and I love that. And I want to kind of go in on that mindset, because I think it's so much being on the side of like faith over fear. And someone listening might have this like big vision, but fear comes in. And it's with everything, I feel like growing up, especially millennials and Gen Z, we are constantly like, it depends what content you consume, of course, but people will let their fear-based belief kind of overpower them from going after what they want. So what would you say to someone who's struggling with that? Maybe they're in the dance of like, they know they're meant to live this abundant life, but then fear comes in, their limiting beliefs come in. How do you like constantly play that battle?
Time. So one of the interesting aspects, I was walking on the beach after my teenage daughter, 13 at the time, told me her friend committed suicide. And I couldn't understand why or how that happens. Like, I get older kids, I get drugs, alcohol, I get middle-aged people, like all the things but I couldn't understand, this 12 or 13-year-old, what would happen. And I'm walking the beach and I'm like tearing up like I do right now. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this? And I said, because people don't understand just happiness. And then I got the chills, and I literally thought to myself, I should teach people to be happy. I know how to do this. Yeah. I've written books about it. I could do this. And then I'm like, how do I get the whole world to be happy? And I started doing the math. I'm like, if I can find 1,000 people like you to empower 1,000, 1,000 times 1,000, a million. But then I said, okay, who am I going to tell? Right? Who am I going to tell? See, I wasn't fearful when I came up with the idea. But the minute when I started thinking about what other people wanted from me, what I didn't want, what was missing in my life, fear creeped in. And I started to tell myself, you know what? I'm always going to be afraid. I'm always going to have triggers in ego-based consciousness that makes me afraid. And instead of saying I'm not going to be afraid or I'm not afraid, I'm going to say I'm going to spend minutes and moments being afraid instead of days, weeks, months, and years. So I'm going to identify and be aware of the triggers of the ego that make me afraid, the need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, the need to be inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, worried, angry, guilty, resentful, all these things that trigger the ego that make me afraid, that take all the blood out of my brain, put it in my body so I can fight, feed, flee, or the other F word that Gary Vee uses. I don't need my blood in my body to think and utilize my highest power of self, my higher power of thinking. I need blood in my brain. So I needed to practice spending minutes and moments in fear by identifying the triggers first, and then stopping, dropping my temperature by breathing, and then rolling back through center with the blood in my brain, my higher power of self, to the right place, the right direction, without the fear. And I think if people look at fear in the context of time, that we're always going to be fearful, but I'm just going to spend minutes or moments there instead of hours, days, weeks, and years like I have and other people do, you can achieve so much more.
And then I know it's like, as you keep doing it and putting yourself, like choosing the higher serving emotions and feelings and beliefs, just going to get easier. So like hearing that approach, I love how you're not saying like, no, just disregard it. You're saying just less. Yeah. And then it'll eventually disintegrate and you'll be a machine.
Right. It's the consistent, persistent behavior, right? The less time, you are what you think, say, do, believe. The unconscious competencies are activated by what you think, say, do, and believe. And the consistency of those actions are what activate your personality traits, your characteristics, your obsessions and addictions, which you can actually align with what you want instead of allowing it to be an interference between you and what you already are.
I love that. That's like the perfect note into what I wanted to dive into. I know everyone who listens is huge on this, and it's the law of attraction. And I feel like that topic of love, it's vital. It's a tool that everyone can harness if they know how to, obviously, and it's so much the feelings, the vibrations, and I know you're so experienced with talking about it, and I would love to hear how you stay, you say this about your vibration carries your potential. And I'd love for you to kind of unravel that for people to understand that concept, because I just think it's so powerful when I heard you speak on it.
Sure. So everything vibrates. So this table vibrates the slowest. That's why you can't put your hand through it. Then plants, animals, humans, sound, then light, and then thought. And the thing that vibrates the fastest, now remember, you can't be aware of anything, only be aware of anything that vibrates equal to or less than you. So our objective is to raise our frequency, raise our awareness by raising our vibration. Well, the thought that vibrates the fastest is the truth. So I'm always going to be in pursuit of my truth, my potential. And when I'm aware of that, I can actually harness the power of manifestation, because manifestation is directly related to awareness. See, what happens is everything already exists, right? I believe that we live in a world, an abundant world of everything for everyone. Yeah. But we can't recognize, recollect, remember, remind. You see, these words come from somewhere because those things already exist. You're just not aware of them. You see it all the time. I see kids, they're looking for a job and they're not ready for it. And then all of a sudden they look up on the post and it's like, oh my gosh, there's the job at the horse stables for 3 times as much money that I've been wanting to work for an equestrian. But yeah, it was always there. Mm-hmm. You just weren't aware. See, it's always there. And that's what we actually call manifestation, the materialization of what's already there, meaning the awareness of what's already there. And in order to have the law of attraction, which is the law of allowance, there's 2 other laws that people ignore to raise that frequency or awareness or vibration. One is the law of gravity. See, the law of gravity says you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're right here. You're at the right place at the perfect time. You're happy. You're everything that you are, happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. You already are here, standing there. And a lot of people don't take the step of the law of gravity to understand, I must love myself before others will love me. I must be myself, my own frequency, the best that I can be in order to effectuate the awareness of what's already here. The second law is the law of Goya. And this one's in direct conflict in perception from the law of attraction. See, people think they have to go out and get healthy. They have to go out and get wealthy. They have to go out and get happy. No, it's already there. You're just not aware. So the law of Goya says, get off your ass. Simply raise your vibration by creating activity. Nothing happens till it moves. So you have to have the law of gravity to say, I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm going to angle with everything I have, a desire that I must be what I can be in order to effectuate an awareness of what's already there. And utilizing the last aspect, which is faith. Faith is the ultimate GPS, right? A GPS, you put your destination in, and if you get off at the wrong exit, it reroutes you back to that destination. If you get a flat tire, it'll put you back on track with the. But see, the ultimate GPS of faith, an object of energy that you put into the universe to get what you want, to allow the awareness of what's already there, is that not only will faith reroute you when you make a mistake, get off at the wrong exit, go to the donuts instead of where you're supposed to be, but it's actually going to change your destination for you. In other words, it's going to make you aware of something even better than what you wanted. And that's what faith allows you to have in your life, is the understanding that pain, mistakes, failures, setbacks are just indicators. They're not stop signs, they're turn signals telling you, hey, you have a better place, a better direction, a better situation, or to make your situation better right in front of you. And here's an indication that you should. And so utilizing the law of gravity, the law of Goya, and the law of attraction under the context of awareness and vibration changes your entire paradigm. It shifts it to simply, what am I doing to create interference between what's already there and me, what's already in existence. See, manifestation isn't some sort of, it's coming to me. It's just simply your awareness is elevating to what's already there.
Online to it. Oh, that was so good. I'm sure people are like mind boggled right now. And this is why you guys need to listen to David's podcast every single day, all the content you're doing, because I'm sure everyone's like, I need this to be reminded of this. Because it's like, I feel like the biggest thing with content, it's like, you need to hear these things, but it needs to be enforced every single day in order for that to be like the principles that you adopt. And even going there, I know people probably want to hear it, and we're huge on this in the Coffee and Good Vibe podcast is routines, because every day your habits are your reality, right? And I would love to hear I know you have a morning and a night routine, a wind down. If you could share both, I know people want to take notes and listen, just for the audience to hear.
Yeah, first I separate my routines differently than most people. One, I have my normal routine, which includes the unwinding routine, because my tomorrow starts today. So I start my day at 9 p.m. And I don't believe in the man-made construct of time. In fact, I know that the speed of thought moves faster than the speed of light. So I can utilize time in my favor by understanding how powerful my thoughts are, especially the truth. So if I start my day at 9 p.m., not by waking up, but by unwinding, so I can recover and utilize when my conscious is out of the way. So I utilize my subconscious and unconscious connectivity to the greatest source of power, light, and lessons. So not only physically am I recovered when my body arises or wakes up at 4 a.m., but the other side of me, I'm not living what I call the myth of Sisyphus from Camus, pushing a boulder to the top of the hill to wake up exhausted in the morning with the boulder back at the bottom of the hill. I plateau and grow my day because I have an unwinding routine. Then I execute on it at 4 a.m. From there with meditation, with working out. But the key to my life is the second routine I have is the adaptable routine. See, this comes with age. You want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan or routine. So what I did is I'm going to go ahead and learn from that and tell myself I have an adaptable routine. So when God's laughing at me and he says, nope, you're not going to be able to do what you planned. Now I go right to the basics. Minimum of an hour a day on my health, minimum of an hour a day with my family, minimum of time studying my calendar, creating the mathematical equation of luck. Attention plus intention equals the coincidences for the activities I have planned, I don't have planned, and my sleep, my unwinding routine, utilizing a Meltzer kaleidoscope, a lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. Productivity of how valuable am I going to provide others, accessibility of how accessible and connected am I to others, as well as what am I accessing or receiving, and then of course the superpower that we talked about earlier. Gratitude is the power to find the light, the love, and the lessons, to learn to love every activity that I'm doing. I go to the non-negotiables to efficiently and effectively utilize that same habitual routine, discipline, and awareness that works through the sensory cortexes of our cellular memory to activate the subconscious neural pathways that activate then our unconscious mind, our quantum being that creates the easy personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addiction. Imagine if you're obsessive about only healthy things. What a brilliant way to live your life. And that's a frequency that will allow you to raise your awareness of what's already there and allow you to have it in your materialized world.
Wow, there's so much there. I am like so grateful you shared all that. Guys, if you're listening, I'm sure you have a lot of notes, and I want to just honor you for all the wisdom and value and strategy and so much gems in there. And I know everyone listening probably wants to hear more, and you're in luck because David is a content machine. He puts out content on every platform, the podcast. We'll have it all linked below for you guys. David, I just want to truly thank you.
Could you do me one favor? I hate to interrupt you because I would be happy to send everyone my 5 daily practices, my book. I'll send you an ebook, an audio book, a signed copy of my book. I'll ship it to you, pay for shipping. Anyone that just, I'll give my direct email address, david@dmeltzer.com. So please, I know you put this in the notes. I wanted to reiterate it. I'm on a mission to empower over 1 billion people. And if you could allow me to give you my book, to send it to you, my 5 daily practices, it would help me find those 1,000 people like you If you could put that in the show notes, certainly would appreciate it. And please, everyone, remember, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Life isn't that hard.